Changemakers. I'm Ryan Hawk, founder and CEO of Nighthawk Deliveries. We are a late night alcohol delivery company. Think pizza delivery, but booze at 2 a.m. And I'm here with a good friend, Michael Dial.
Hey everyone, I'm Michael Dial, music producer, social media consultant, and events organizer. Do you want to start or I start?
You better start.
Alright. Yo, so Ryan,
Routines.
And habits.
Mm-hmm.
What, do you think it's important to have a strict routine? Do you have a strict routine that you use to be successful or not?
I think you have to.
What's a routine for you?
What's a routine for me?
How do you start?
I'm stuck. Yeah. See.
How do you start?
Well, I mean, it's telling. It's telling already. I don't have enough routine to be able to tell you what a routine is.
Wow.
I know I need one.
Yeah.
I know I need structure.
Okay.
What I'm as of late, I'm consulting, and it's very much. I need to be in the office at this time, and I'm expected to be there for so many hours and be productive and things like that. So it's kind of forced routine on me because I've got a boss for the first time in a long time. So it's kind of forced that routine on me, and I really like it.
Okay.
And I've said this to my boss, is that I'm equal parts soldier and captain. I have no problem taking direction.
Yeah.
I have no problem leading. But it's nice to be able to be taking direction.
Yeah.
But it forces you because you're accountable to someone else to make sure that you're managing your time in an effective way where you're dealing with all of the things that you need to do, because all of a sudden now you've allotted X amount of time to that project. And so if you want to be productive in your own business or your own private life or whatever, you need to have a plan. So for me, I mean, but I still haven't nailed down exactly what I do, and I've tried things in the past where I've had kind of whether it's digital or written down diaries. I find it very difficult.
What's difficult about it? Like consistency.
Consistency, but the problem with me, right? And there's more than one problem with me. This is one problem with me, is that I've got a very low attention span.
Same here.
Right. So if I would rather have 10 things on the go than one thing that I need to do. And I work better like that. I mean, sometimes you just can't force what's not in your nature. There's certain things that you need to build, and I've been reading a lot about willpower and how it is a muscle. And how if you can really learn to flex and grow that muscle, then your willpower, you're able to sustain willpower for longer periods of time, and therefore it could be more effective or more even productive. But for me, at least lists. I at least have to do, and I used to not long ago have and I always at the top of my notepad I write the date and like to do, whatever the date is, and then I sign my name, just because when they dig this up 100 years from now, someone's probably gonna be able to sell it for a lot of money. But lately, so what I used to do was I'd have a to-do list, and it would be like I don't know, for the sake of an example, the 2nd of May, right? And then I would work, and I would write a whole bunch of things that I need to do, and then I would try to do that over kind of the next week or 2 weeks, and then the next entry on the next page would be like the next month or even at the end of the month kind of thing. Now what I do is I'm writing every single day. A list. Yeah. And a lot of these to-do lists, the items are the same things I wrote yesterday, but I'm writing it again.
Yeah.
And then tackling it again and trying to cross the list, and then the next day I write it again, and and then and usually what I do is I have one page for to do, and then the reverse I have notes. So like calculations or
ideas.
Ideas or thoughts or processes or just the kind of mental calculations kind of thing of how it would work, or even just like websites I need to look at, or people I need to talk to. Or, I mean, if it's important enough, it goes on the list. If it's a side thought or a calculation, it goes on the reverse.
Yeah. Okay.
That's as close to routine as I've got right now.
Yeah.
Besides, I've got a little boy, so part of my routine, my daily routine, is already set. I have to get up at a certain time. I have to do breakfast. I have to do some cleaning. I have to do lunch. I have to do some cleaning. All the playing and interacting, with the boy. So it kind of creates that structure, and then as soon as my time as dad is done, straight to work. So it's kind of created a routine without almost a pushed routine without me being conscious of it.
Yeah, it's not entirely self-imposed.
No, and that's where I need to get better. That's a mistake that I've made. Is that what I want to do is be able to say my obligations are getting up with the boy, but I need to actually get up an hour earlier to do this, and then my time is allocated to my son, and then I go to work, and then my time is allocated to work, and then within work I've got my notes and things like that, and even that's even been a struggle. I even with the new gig, I get there and sometimes I'm lost. I sit down there for the first kind of 10-15 minutes, and I'm almost overwhelmed. Like, okay, now what? What do I start? What do I do now?
So when you turn up, you're not sort of told what to do, or is it a case of you probably had a brief on a Monday, and you come in on like a Wednesday, Thursday, and it's up to you to get on with it.
Yeah.
And kind of create your day.
Well, and this is the thing about startup, whether you're consulting or it's your own, or working as an employee. In the early days, so much of it is what you bring to the table. You can't go off on tangents because there are different departments that you don't want to step on. You can't just say, oh, I've got a great idea for this campaign. Well, marketing might not be anything, something they want you touching at the moment.
Yeah.
It might be a good idea for a strategy session or a creative thinking session, but if they say this is your role, then you need to think of ways to make that role as productive as possible and as useful as possible. What about you? Do you have because you're a guy that lives by routines?
Nah, not really. I live by trying to get a routine. I would say last year, 2016, was an experimental year where I did try out. I was constantly tinkering with how to be more productive with my days and even weeks. So I would watch someone like Evan Carmichael on YouTube, who does sort of business related, like he has a business related channel. It's quite motivational as well, but he offers a lot of helpful tips. So he gets asked a lot. How do you kind of sort of schedule your day and make your day effective? And something I like from him is that he does something that he calls chunking, which is anything that's quite similar to each other, such as editing a video and recording a podcast, or in his case, recording stuff for his YouTube channel. He's got a lot of subscribers. He likes to do it on a particular day. So
Okay.
he will choose like a Tuesday to kind of, he's got so many different playlists on YouTube, so different types of videos. He's got webinars, he's got interviews, he's got a daily motivational, he's got top 10 tips for success. So he will record all of those different series in one day.
Right.
And that Tuesday is the recording day.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So he's not splitting himself apart, working on recording, then having a business meeting, then, consulting. He's going to chunk anything that's similar, video editing, recording, in one day.
Yeah.
Where it's 10 hours that he spends on it.
Yeah.
That is what that day is for.
Yeah.
The next day, he's got a day for meetings. So, he will run around to the other side. He's Canadian as well, actually.
Is he?
Yeah.
Okay.
He'll run around to the other side of Toronto.
Toronto.
To have different sorts of meetings. He's I don't know, he owns a company. He's got a salsa bar or whatever it is, a dance club as well. So that will be on a Thursday, for instance. So I've adopted that.
Okay.
So anything related to music, for instance, and whether it's editing, mixing, or just getting the latest songs that I need to play out when I DJ, I'll try and do that on like a Monday.
Yeah.
For instance.
Yeah.
So today is a Tuesday. Today I just worked on music.
Okay.
So it's just editing, mixing, and
you don't let anything else interfere you. Today, it's music and that's it.
Yeah, that's what I try to go for, basically. The bad habits is the old bad habits of, kind of checking the phone, checking email, and then you get sidetracked into something else, sending that email. That could take 30 minutes. Yeah. And then you've got another one.
This is where the attention span comes.
That's the attention span. I've always had a short attention span, so knowing that, I'm trying to improve on that.
Yeah. And there must be some middle ground. I mean, if chunking works for you, but you've got kind of a present, you're working on your attention span. You're working on kind of how long you can stay in one task or one chunk.
Yeah.
You could really have two. You could just say on Tuesdays, because I know this is my nature, or because I'm liable to switch to the next thing, I'll do 4 hours of this and then 4 hours of this.
Yeah, most of the time I do, if I've got a full day to myself, then most of the time I'll do two things. Let's say one thing I will work on for 4 hours. Even that is going to be broken up. So it's not 4 continuous hours staring at the screen or writing in the notepad. It's like every 55 minutes I'll go for a little 5-minute break.
Yeah.
Because I know I'm just going to start wandering off mentally. Yeah. So, I get up, do something else, make tea or whatever, go outside, get some fresh air, come back in, and then it's like I'm refreshed again, and then I continue.
There's I just finished a book called the Power of Habit. I should probably get the author's name just so that's no, wrong one.
I wrote that book. So
where is it here?
Just checking his order book.
There we go. Charles Duhigg, The Power of Habit. And he says that part of kind of changing habits, bad habits into good habits, is to recognize the cue, right? So what is the stimulus that starts you on a bad habit, whether it's losing focus or smoking or eating or whatever kind of is the bad habit. What is the cue? Is it the email? Is it the distraction? Is it the smell of onions? Is it whatever it is? Recognizing cue, recognize the routine. So what is the next kind of cycle of thought,
Yeah.
or process rather, that happens after the cue, and what is the reward system? So it's the cue, the routine, and the reward. And if you can start to recognize the cue, change the routine, and change the reward, then you can shift kind of bad habits. And I just finished it, and I can't wait to kind of get into it more and really kind of implement. Yeah, just get really introspective about what kind of, as soon as I recognize, oh, it's the same old thing happening, I'm losing focus, or I'm doing this or that, and then changing my routine to something else.
Yeah.
Because we're creatures of habits, right? So once we can change that routine, and then set up a different reward system as well, a more kind of healthier, productive reward. And sometimes I think just in changing the routine, the reward comes almost naturally. Sometimes it's just the reward is that you've recognized it and that you've changed it. And then eventually it becomes habit again. It's like these people that I've got a lot of admiration for people that go to the gym consistently, and then they get to, not only do they go consistently, but they're off for 2 days, and they're like, I feel so guilty. I feel I can't. I haven't been in the gym in 2 days. I feel so guilty. Like it's like that's when you've got a good habit.
I like to go gym regularly. I think it just got to a point. Obviously, I've always been sporty, but I just got to a point where I relaxed and just made it a part of my lifestyle. And I think once you make that decision to incorporate something into your life, fully, even though you'll have your bad days of not going or your bad run, but once you make that decision to incorporate something in your life and be like, I'm going to stick to this, that actually helps with the process of making it a routine.
No, I mean the book touched on that as well. Is the starting place is almost the belief in belief. So believing that you can do it is the first step. Is like and actually, I mean that's the start of most addiction counseling as well. Believe that you have the power to change, or even believe in a higher power if that's where you want to go. But it's something that it's a conscious decision to believe that you can, that you're able to change.
Definitely. Commonly, we hear of the most successful people wake up at 5 a.m.
Or 4 or 3, or sleep only 3 hours or 4 hours a day.
I mean, if someone goes to bed at average 9 p.m, they're gonna be getting up at 4 a.m. Really?
I don't know. I think could
you do that?
I could, wouldn't want to.
4, 5 a.m. every day.
I don't know. I've got a real problem with almost like the new diet for the entrepreneur. To be the best. To be the next Branson. You only sleep 5 hours a day, and you better be working hard for. I mean. That's not the case with everyone. It's probably not even the case with him. With Ariana Huffington, she says that she needs 8 to 10 hours sleep. Like she has, like that. That's I think knowing yourself.
That's. I think a lot of this sort of advice, and I do this, and that's what us guys or us ladies who are successful do, and this is what it takes to become one of us. It kind of leads a lot of people astray from themselves, I feel.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it not only does it lead people astray, but I think it deters people from really going for it, or from accepting their mistakes, or their failures, or their kind of whatever. When you have people like Gary Vee, who is always pushing work, yes, you have to work. You can't get anywhere without working. But there are so many different kinds of definitions. You have Gary Vee says you have to work all hours of the day, and he's always working, always, always, always. And then you've got Ferris, who is the 4-hour work week, and he says you can work a lot less and be just if not more productive. So who's right? You know, is it a personality type? Is it the nature of your business? Is it your attention span? I mean, keep in mind that Gary Vee will always say that there are certain days that he won't work. That's family time. But when he's working,
that's
he's
just one day a week.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah,
for half the day.
but he's not working a pickaxe. You know, he's not doing an 8-hour assembly job. You know, like I mean, he is very, very much a worker within a short attention span. So, Twitter, Facebook, record this thing, have this business meeting, set up this podcast. So he's doing a lot of things. He's not chunking anything. You know, it's just like, you know, what's next? And I mean, a lot of it's because that's what drives him. That's fun for him. I mean,
and you know, to be fair to even what he says about his journey to where we've seen him, is he's put in the work.
Yeah.
For that kind of I don't know, routine to be the case for him.
Yeah, well, I mean, and
you know, he's got a staff of like 200 in his building, for instance. So you don't necessarily have to work on one thing.
And to you know, in his defense, success is an aphrodisiac, right? Your own success. Yeah. So where he you know, the credit is due for him, for sure, is that he failed a lot. He had a lot of videos and you know and approaches to everything that just failed until he got a little bit better and learned a little more and and then once you hit on success, well, I mean, if you have the key, if you have the, you know, what should I say, if you find the vein that produces gold, you're gonna go back there every single day. You know, you're gonna do as much as you can, because, you know, why wouldn't you?
Yeah.
You know, if you figured out a way to make 10,000 in an hour, I'm gonna spend 10 hours.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Winning is addictive.
Winning is
Winning is
definitely
addictive.
Yeah.
So, you know, once you start to hit your stride.
So the key is, I guess, is that failure should be equally so. You know, your failure, you should get just as excited to fail as you do to succeed. And a lot of, I read this recently, I'm not sure where, but there are a lot of new companies now that will celebrate failure and not success. So you go out for team drinks when you fucked up.
Wait, but is that in the UK?
I don't know.
Because in America, you know, failing is actually more celebrated.
Yeah.
I would say culturally.
Well, I'm Canadian, so I don't know about America. But I like that idea, because I mean, all the new kind of business models are all about failing fast. You know, kind of your minimum viable product, and you know, kind of this lean startup. You know, which is now part of an MBA course. Is you know, is the lean startup model. It's the idea to fail fast, and I think if you're failing and celebrating that, you don't get too hard on yourself, and you're going, okay, what do we learn from it?
Yeah.
You know, it's almost a better thing. It's almost like you're, you know, the slab of marble that you're chipping away in failure until you've got kind of this polished, you know, masterpiece. You know, and it doesn't come from the masterpiece out. It comes from failure. It comes from like all the pieces you have to chip away in your process. You know, and then once you've kind of refined that way to have a polished product, you're just going to do it faster and easier the next time.
Now, you touched on Gary Vee, who's on the kind of, let's say, the extreme end, or the sort of typical end of like the modern day entrepreneur, but someone I would say inspired something in me was national treasure over here, Dawn French.
Okay.
Comedian. I watched an interview of hers like ages ago, and she explained her process, and she said, I'm not one of those people who, you know, 4 hours a day of sleep, day in, day out, working, creating, writing, you know, and then filming. She has waves of energy.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
she works within that high wave.
Yeah.
So she said maybe for a 3-month period, she's quite inspired. And then she hits...
That strikes a chord with me for sure.
And I didn't... That started to make me study myself and then realise something, that I'm actually quite similar to Dawn French, because prior to that, I'm only hearing you should work 16 hours a week for your dream or whatnot.
Yeah.
But when she said, I mean, she's a legend, so it's like, how did she become that? Was it the 16 hours a day kind of thing? No, it was for a short period of time. She's inspired, she's got great ideas, she's going to work on it till it's finished and completed, and then she's going to just crash and just sleep for like another month and relax.
No, I see that. I feel that way as well. I mean, and sometimes you can feel in you something's coming.
Yeah.
You know, and for the longest time you're in a lull, you know, but you can kind of feel there's something bubbling under the surface.
It's always at the time of a new year coming.
Yeah.
Next year's going to be my year.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think most entrepreneurs are superstitious in a way. A lot of people say it doesn't matter, you should work on a Sunday, you should work on a Saturday, but I think most of us will whether or not you create that kind of superstition artificially.
And superstitious about what?
Okay, so I'm always most motivated at the beginning of the year, the beginning of the month, beginning of the week, right? That's when I tend to have kind of the most ideas and the most kind of feeling of being productive or energized, or
is that because leading to the end of the week you kind of slow yourself down and save up for Monday?
Here's the weird thing though. Monday I'm most energized. Thursday, Friday I'm most productive. Right? But I don't feel productive on Thursday and Friday. I just am productive on a Thursday and Friday. But I feel I like fresh starts.
Yeah.
What I need to work on is feeling that every single morning.
Every day is a fresh start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, I do anyways. I mean, but not as much, not as superstitiously as like, it's the 1st of January, 2017. Let's do it.
Yeah.
You know, which is the worst time.
Of course, I think annually though, if let's even put that aside, because I think a year, an ending and a start of a year is a massive life milestone.
Yeah.
That's a restart for all sorts of areas of your life.
Sure.
Generally.
Yeah.
So
I mean, but it's arbitrary though. I mean, if you think of from a, you know.
Of course, it's, you know, same way. Why is Sunday the day of rest?
Yeah.
Like.
Well, we know religiously why it is, but.
Yeah, but we don't even know if Sunday was that day. You
No,
know,
that's right. Yeah, you're right.
You know, supposedly created so long ago that we don't know whether Sunday is Sunday.
Yeah, maybe that's why I'm tired on Tuesday.
Yeah. You know, for me, Monday is the Sunday.
Right.
It's a bit of both. I feel excited for Mondays because I don't work Mondays. Yeah, that's it. But I use Monday as that kind of miscellaneous day. I call it now. So it is the day where, you know, I will work weekends, I do work weekends. And so I need that Monday for that long sleep, refreshing sleep. So of course I'm going to feel good. Yeah. It's a new week, so it's a new week. Then I use it as a day to kind of check emails, check my texts, message people again, you know, because it's a new week. I'll work on 2 to 3 different things on that day. Yeah. I'll go out to the shops. I kind of like the idea of having an alternative Monday, like different to the back to work, back to the grind, back to the boredom. Yeah. To me, I'll work on different things on that Monday, and then Tuesday is really the Monday for me.
Right. Okay.
So that's just how it's worked, because obviously I always work a weekend.
Yeah.
I'll work in the evening. I work so I don't really care whether it's Saturday or Sunday anymore. So, yeah.
Yeah, I picked up some flashcards. Actually, I was just so I started doing this as well. So I've got my list, but if I've got like a certain project that I need to finish, I've now put it on flashcards. So I say step 1, A B C D E F, whatever, and that's step 1.
Where do you put the flashcards? Like
Well, they're in my room.
Oh, in your room. Okay.
Yeah, no, they're just they're private.
Oh,
I
right.
mean, because they're very specific things that I need to do. It's like, okay, I need to if I'm what's an example? Just any project, you know. Yeah. But step 1, you need to do this, you know, and then step 2 is kind of the next phase, kind of thing. Yeah. But step 1, there's a list of things you need to do within that step. It's almost kind of like a vision board. Almost. Yeah. You know,
I guess it's all similar.
It's very similar.
It's like your cards have different colors, right?
No.
No. Oh.
No.
I thought you showed them to me one time and they had different colors.
Oh no. That was my schedule. Like
it's a schedule book.
Yeah.
Oh,
No, this one's just like flashcards. Like if you're memorizing, I don't know, phrases of a new language. Yeah. You know, you'd say, you know, hello, hola, you know, on the back or something like that. I haven't written on the back, but the front, step 1 and then all the kind of list of kind of things you need to do to achieve that first step. And what I might do is I might actually, because what I'm finding is that there's a lot of steps underneath that one step. So I think I might divide them into 2 steps or 3, 4, 5, 6. Because there's, but I mean, I guess you just have to keep that in itself is a helpful process. You know, in the search to find a routine or something that works for you, or to develop a habit, or you know, to be productive or whatever. I think indirectly it's inching you closer, as long as you're not running to stand still, as long as you're not kind of analyzing, you know, who am I really, and then 3 months you're going, who am I really?
Yeah, there's a certain point you need to know whether you're being busy for the sake of it, like you know, you're just busy trying to find a pot of gold or something, or whether you're being productive. So I just try to make sure I write my 5 things or so to do for today. I don't put what time they need to be done. No. I just try to get them done in whatever order. Yeah. So whatever feels best. That's what I'm doing now, and I'm finding a flow gets created. Yeah. For me, because I can't be too regimented. Yeah. Because I need to kind of flow into one thing into the other. Yeah. And that's what I do with my lists. Because I'm aware of my low attention span, and because when I'm on it, I can be very effective very quickly. And I have a personal philosophy of hurry up and get lazy. You know, this comes back from my old days as a projectionist, when you had, you know, the movies to make up and all these kind of things you had to do for the kind of the day ahead or the week ahead, and I would finish it all within the first hour of my 12-hour day, because 1, I wanted to relax after it, but 2, I also knew that that if something happened, if a machine broke or you know, something happened, at least that's out of the way. So you know, so now, and that's kind of instilled in me now because of my attention span as well, is that if I'm on it, I'm going to do as much of it as possible in a very short time. And I've kind of over the years learned kind of I don't know, insights I guess, on how to be really productive in a very short space of time. And that way, you know, and I guess where the guilt comes though is that when you finish, you're that productive in, say like in an hour, you're like, I smashed it, I'm fucking on it, and then the next hour you're like, well, I wish why can't I do this for 2 hours or 4 hours or 8 hours, you know? Like, I think if you can consistently get to that point where you're smashing a lot of your to-dos out in 1 to 2 hours, if they're bigger to-dos, maybe 4 hours and you've got another 4 or 5 hours of your day,
Yeah.
I think there's opportunity in, you know, maybe adding one more thing that you would have put on for another day
Yeah.
and smash that one out.
Yeah.
And then, you know, take yourself to a
Yeah.
pub or something.
But you know what? Then sometimes you've got these mini waves like Dawn French. I have them in the day where you know I'm on that peak, I'm on that high, and I'm in the lull, and there's nothing that will drag me back to productive. You know,
Yeah.
as much as I want to, as much as it's guilt, as much as like there's things you know creeping up or deadlines or you know priorities. Nothing will drag me away from being lazy, and that's what I need to. I mean, this is why I need to consciously work on my willpower muscle.
Yeah. And maybe schedule your
Stamina.
laziness.
Men, well, everyone, but I mean, in all things, business and sexual, stamina is everything.
Yeah, it's everything. That's what she said.
Yeah.